What's up guys, it's Trevor with Embers Living. One of the most common questions we get when people are shopping for a new grill slash smoker is what fuel type do you need? Do you need to buy a gas grill? Do you need to buy a pellet smoker? Or do you need a charcoal grill slash smoker? I'm gonna answer the questions of what the advantages of each fuel type are, and specifically if you can only get one of them. At the end of the video, I'm gonna tell you which one is the best if you can only have one, but you might need two. So the three products that we're showcasing specifically today are gonna be the Napoleon Pro 500 gas grill. This is sort of in the middle to upper end of their lineup. This is by no means an entry-level gas grill. Then when we get over to our pellet smoker, this is actually our best-selling pellet smoker. This is the Yoder 640. Again, this is gonna be a little bit more on the higher end side when it comes to pellet smokers, but our best seller because it's by far our most reliable pellet smoker. And then we have, I don't even know if I should say it. There might be kids watching, can't even say that. We have the you-know-what on the floor. This is a ceramic charcoal cooker, a lot like a Kamado Joe or a Big Green Egg. Let's break down the differences. The general concept of a pellet smoker, and this is gonna be universal to all pellet smokers, is you're gonna fill up a hopper with pellets. You have an auger, which is feeding the pellets into the burn pot, and then based on how hot you want it to go, that auger is gonna feed more pellets for more heat or slower for less pellets and more of a smoker. Because you have a real flame, it creates the concept of a smoking type of grilling. But in general, they're much, much easier to use. They require a lot less babysitting because this guy is controlling the temperature. You don't have to manually control the temperature at all. So it's a little bit easier to use, a little more dummy proof. And if you like that smoke flavor, it's a great sort of way to get your feet wet into the smoking realm. That's the good. The general knock on pellet smokers in general, and this is the concept of all of them, is that they are a jack of all trades, master of none. What do we mean by that? It means that they do a lot of things really good, but they don't excel in one thing. They give you some good smoke flavor. They don't give you the best smoke flavor compared to like a stick grill or a charcoal grill. They can grill, but they don't get quite hot enough to sear. All right, they can do some smoking, they can do some grilling, they rarely can do some searing, but they just kind of do a little bit of everything pretty good. All right, but there are some negatives besides that. Let's talk about it. This is a Traeger. We wanted to show off our Traeger. This is probably the most popular smoker that is in people's backyards today. All the new Traegers are made pretty poorly. We actually did a video literally tearing this apart with our bare hands to show the poor quality materials. And so pellet smokers in general sometimes get a bad rap because they don't last very long. That's because brands like this are the most popular, especially the lower end pellet smokers are definitely a jack of all trades, master of none. They can't get hot enough. The quality build isn't good enough where they can retain heat in the winter time if you're in a cold weather climate. And so that's sort of where they get this bad reputation for a jack of all trades, master of none. Let's talk pricing a little bit when it comes to pellet smokers. Now, this is a pro for pellet smokers. In general, they're pretty affordable. We see pellet smokers as low as $500, $600, $700 like this guy. That's gonna be on the low end. On that end, you're definitely getting what you pay for. You're getting a machine that's gonna last you a couple of years and it's gonna do a lot of things pretty good. It's never gonna do anything great. But the other good news with pellet smokers is this Yoder is basically the Cadillac of pellet smokers. There's a few other like luxury ones out there, like our Twin Eagles, stuff like that, if we're building it into an outdoor kitchen. These max out at about $4 grand. That's gonna be your absolute high side. So they're relatively, I hate saying $4 grand as more affordable, but they're typically gonna be more on the affordable side compared to like gas grills. Now, a couple other positives that pellet smokers do really well. This Yoder, for example, if you were to pony up and spend the extra money on a higher quality pellet smoker, these inserts come out and we can sear at 900 degrees. So some of the higher end pellet smokers allow for much hotter temperatures where we can sear, where it might eliminate the need for a gas grill. On the lower end pellet smokers, you're definitely gonna need a smoker plus a grill. So you're gonna need 2 cookers, I think. On a higher end pellet smoker, you can get away with just 1. Now the other thing, and this is probably what pellet does better than gas and in charcoal, We're starting to see integrations with smart features in charcoal grills and integrations with smart features in gas grills. They have not cracked the code on that yet. I kind of think smart features on both categories are pretty much useless. By far, if you want to be able to control a grill remotely through Wi-Fi or on your phone, Pellet is the best at that. Pellet smokers typically don't integrate well into an outdoor kitchen. So you see like more of our luxury gas grills there. They don't really fit greatly in that sort of style, that stainless steel, clean look. They're usually a lot more industrial like this in general. Throughout this video, there is no such thing, and you hear me talk about this a lot, and it's like, well, Trevor ranked this #1. Trevor said this is the best. Well, it's really lifestyle based, and that's no different when you're choosing gas, pellet, or smoker. What is your lifestyle? Do you host a lot of people? Do you have a very, very busy schedule and you have limited time to cook? Do you geek out over good 12-hour cooked brisket? All of those things factor on which grill you need based on what's important to you. So I would say a pellet smoker is gonna be best for the type of person that's more of a novice when it comes to smoking and they're trying to dip their toes into becoming a better smoker. A pellet grill is a little more dummy proof. And if you buy a nice one, you can get away with just one cooker. So that's the person it's for. Or something easy where your wife needs to start it while you're at work and you're super busy. She can get this going real simple too. So it's a great choice for that. All right, let's talk charcoal. Now, this is a ceramic charcoal smoker. I think when it comes to charcoal style cooking, ceramic smokers are my favorite. They're all pretty simple and they're gonna work this way, whether it's a cheap Weber kettle or like a higher end unit, like ceramic unit like this. Basically, they all work the same. We have oxygen going in, air outlet going out on our chimney. Basically, the more air we let in, with the more air escaping, the hotter this thing is gonna fire. The more we choke this thing down, the cooler it's gonna run. Now, what's cool about this is they all kind of work the same, whether you're spending 50 bucks or $2,000. So what is the advantage you get on buying a more expensive unit like this? Really, more than anything, it's going to be some of the accessories that they offer, you know, like pizza ovens, griddles, things like that. But really, the magic is in the ceramic. So ceramic is really, really good at retaining heat, especially in the winter. We can run this thing all day long, 500-600 degrees in the dead of winter, easy peasy. Okay, so that's really what you're paying for a more expensive cooker like this. Now, what else is the advantage to charcoal? With charcoal cooking, I think we get the most amount of smoke flavor. And it's a different type of flavor than even like a real hardwood cooker. Easier to use than a real like stick grill. So I think, in my opinion, the biggest advantage of charcoal is they produce some of the best flavors. The other cool thing about charcoal, and I hate saying this since we run a barbecue shop, is remember how I said on pellet, like we have a huge difference between the way like a Traeger is gonna perform and the way a Yoder is gonna perform? Big gap between something really expensive and something really cheap. Huge difference. If you buy the cheapest Weber kettle or this, they're gonna cook almost the same unless you're cooking in the dead of winter. You might get a little better heat retention on this, but we're seeing less of a performance gap. So I don't think it's as imperative to upgrade in the charcoal space. If you wanted to save some money, the charcoal space would be the space to do it. That's what's cool about charcoal, is very, very cost effective to get into. We're talking $75 to $100 for like a cheap Weber kettle. This guy is a couple thousand. So you're not seeing, huge, ridiculous pricing. Like this is as good as it gets. So the advantages are cost and flavor profile is superior. Like pellet, they can do everything. So they can smoke, they can grill, and they can sear. Charcoal is definitely better in general than pellet smokers when it comes to searing. So super, super high heats, they do better. Even in the low smoke setting, I think they provide a superior smoke flavor. That is subjective, that is just my opinion. The negatives are they require a lot more time when you're using it. So again, this is lifestyle based. If you're a guy that just doesn't have a lot of time, this might not be a good cooker for you because it requires more setup time. You got to get the fire going. You got to dial in your temperatures. The more you use this thing, the quicker and better you're going to get at sort of setting and forgetting it. But it is a hands-on grill. If you're not a hands-on kind of guy, you probably want to steer clear of charcoal. I'm going to tell you that right now. But you got to store charcoal. You got to store fire starters. Just a little more work, but kind of fun. Cleaning and maintenance, very messy. Messy baby. Very messy. I get charcoal all over the place. That's just me. I'm just kind of a messy guy anyways. If you're prone to being messy, you're gonna make a bigger mess with stuff like this. You're just gonna. I get lump charcoal everywhere. I've gotten better. I've been using like gloves when I'm like refilling this. Now, another advantage to the ceramic is it holds temp better. It uses less fuel. So you really only have to fill this up not that often. All right, now let's get into gas grills. Gas grills by far are our most popular category, and typically for good reason. First, let's start with price. You can go to Home Depot and spend literally $199 on a gas grill. Gas grills have by far the biggest discrepancy. Let me give you a little sneak peek. Our highest end gas grill built into an outdoor kitchen, I mean, you can spend $10,000 on just one grill head. Now, it is stinking awesome, but we see a huge price discrepancy. So gas grills are really all over the place. If you want to know what category or price point you should be in, I've broken it down into 3 categories: quality, premium, and luxury. The top 5 of each, make it simple. We'll put that buyer's guide down below if you want to look at that. We talked about smart features with gas grills. Ignore that. There isn't a company out there that makes a good one. So, and if it comes to smart grills, forget about it. Gas grills typically give us the most amount of versatility. So we usually have a main cooking area. Some of the nicer ones will have a built-in rotisserie system. Napoleon, which is one of our favorites, has an actual infrared side burner that we can do all of our searing on. So gas grills, kind of like Pellet is, you know how Pellet was a jack of all trades, kind of master of none? Well, same with this. If you upgrade and get something nicer, a gas grill is sort of a jack of all trades, master of all. It's like a pellet smoker, but does everything a little bit better, except maybe smoke. That's the only thing you're losing. So what is most common, I would say, with buyers is that they typically will buy a nice gas grill, and then it's not uncommon for them to buy a more cheaper, a more affordable, some type of smoker, whether that be a charcoal or a pellet. They're the easiest to use. All right, this is how we start it. Boom. And in 2 or 3 minutes, we're cooking if you want. Now, I like to let a gas grill heat up, but by far, ease of use. By far, the most versatile. And typically, I think, the most attractive looking. You know, nice, simple, clean lines. Now, what's cool is some gas grills even can detach from the cart, so you can buy it and then later install it into like an outdoor kitchen. So ease of use is a huge thing. Usually we get a lot more cooking space with a gas grill, and then functionality. A lot of accessories. So we can do griddle accessories, we can do smoker accessories, we have our rotisserie. Sometimes some of them come with interior lighting, exterior lighting. So just very, very feature rich and easiest to use. And they just are very reliable. They last a long time. They don't have a lot of warranties, and they just work, especially the nicer ones. Now, just like a pellet smoker, if you're spending $199 at Home Depot, you're gonna get a season or 2 out of that. You spend $1,500, you don't have to spend a ton. If you spend $1,500 to $2,500, you're gonna get 15 years out of it. So huge difference by just spending a little bit more. And you don't have to go crazy. You don't gotta spend the $10,000 on one. But this is definitely the grill, the fuel type of choice by most of our consumers. And I told you at the end what I would choose. If I could only have one grill, it would be a gas grill. And if I could only have one grill on a cart, it'd probably be like a Napoleon Pro 665, because it gives me a sear station, a rotisserie station, a main cooking area, and then I can even do a griddle accessory if I want. I'm pretty much set at that point. Now, again, this is lifestyle based. I don't do a ton of smoking. I also happen to own a barbecue store. So if I am gonna smoke anything, I can smoke it here at work. So I cheat a little bit. But this is, I'll tell you what's most common. Most people pony up, buy a nice gas grill, and this is their Monday through Friday cooker. And when they want to have a little fun on the weekends, they go charcoal. Okay? And then typically, we sell pellet smoker to people that love smoke flavor in almost every meal that they do, but they still want something easy to use. This is where they go. But this can take care of 90% of consumers right here. And then have your fun on the weekends with your charcoal. That's what I would do if I was doing a cart model. Of course, I'm doing an outdoor kitchen. Stay tuned for that. I got a crazy new outdoor kitchen coming. Hopefully that gives you some good insight as a buyer's guide on what you should get, but can never go wrong with a gas grill. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Stay tuned for next time.